Game 1 is Saturday in Philly. The Rams are back in action tonight against San Francisco at SoFi. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua leads the NFL with 42 catches and 503 receiving yards. After week 4 of the NFL season, one of the 5 African-American head coaches in the NFL is still looking for his first win. Aaron Glenn, in his first season with the New York Jets, is 0-4. The Jets' next game is at home Sunday, October 5th against Dallas. Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin and Tampa Bay's Todd Bowles are 3-1. Atlanta's Raheem Morris is 2-2. D'Amico Ryan in Houston is 1-3. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
Try to keep it coming. Things ain't always smooth, but I'll be all right as long as I can find the good. Yes, I will. Somehow I know that I can make it. You seem to like my style. Don't you worry, I'm gonna be around a while. Yes, I will. I'm just happy to see you talk to me. I can start again.
Live from historic Leimert Park in Los Angeles, California, I'm Tavis Smiley, and I'm so glad to see you and me back in stride again. Before we get started with today's show, let me invite you to follow me on Facebook and Instagram at The Real Tavis Smiley, and get updates on X, that's formerly Twitter, at Tavis Smiley. By the way, should you miss any part of today's program or want to catch up on previous shows, you can always visit thetavissmileyshow.com. That's thetavissmileyshow.com, or wherever you get your podcast, and listen to the Tavis Smiley podcast version of this live program at your leisure. Another great show on tap for you today. In our second hour, 2 conversations, it's Thursday. So up first, it's Smiley and West at the top of the hour. More than a little bit to unpack today with Dr. Cornel West on the top side of hour 2. On the B side of hour 2, it's only day 2, but polling data suggests, wait for it, polling data suggests that significantly more Americans blame Donald Trump and congressional Republicans for the government shutdown than they do Democrats. We'll unpack the data with our regular contributor, Ruben Navarrete Jr., on the backside of hour 2. In our third hour, 2 more conversations. Up first, we'll get our laugh on today with actress and comedian Coco Brown. And on the B side of hour two, a tribute to the world-renowned scientist Jane Goodall, who passed away yesterday at the age of 91 here in California. I don't know about you, but I am altogether fascinated by science, although I never excelled at it in junior high or high school. And unlike too many these days, I don't see a disconnect between God and science. But that's another conversation for another day. I spoke to Jane Goodall many times, but here's a clip from 2017, a conversation we had when the documentary Jane was released.
And there were moments when, when the chimpanzees lost their fear, they became very aggressive. Mm-hmm. So when you're surrounded by 8 large adult chimpanzees, all about 10 times stronger than me, hair bristling, looking huge, screaming at me, treating me as though I was a leopard, trying to hit me with branches. That was scary. Mm-hmm. But I just thought, well, if I pretend I'm not interested, I dug little holes in the ground. I thought they'll probably go away, and they did. So gradually they lost that aggressiveness and accepted me.
A tribute to the remarkable life and career of Jane Goodall today in our final half hour. But in this first hour, 2 more conversations on the B side of this hour. We'll speak with Ashley Etienne, love Ashley, who worked for Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. And so today, a conversation about the fallout from this book with a Kamala Harris insider. We'll do that on the backside of this hour. We commence today's show in conversation with the firebrand out of Oakland, Congresswoman Lateefah Simon, who I'm pleased to welcome back to this program. Congresswoman, how are you today?
I'm working, sir. How are you?
I'm doing the best I can. If I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I am always thrilled to be in conversation with you. You heard me say a moment ago that it's only day 2, but the polling data suggested most Americans are blaming Donald Trump and the Republicans for this shutdown in Washington. And about that, you say what?
And the American public is right. Listen, this shutdown, I've been in Congress for 9 months. Let me just say that first and foremost. But I've been organizing in the Bay Area, in Oakland for 30 years for poor families. This shutdown is not about politics writ large. It's not about balancing budgets. It's on them. They own the House. They own the Senate. They own the judiciary and the executive branch. This is their decision. This was a political weapon, and they have been clear in their intention to create chaos, and they're advancing that agenda. Do not get it twisted.
I've asked this question of others, but not of a member of Congress has yet. I think the polling data suggests that Democrats made the right decision here. Is healthcare the right battlefront on which to fight?
Well, the question is a brilliant one, and it absolutely is. Listen, we're holding the line. This budget, first of all, the big ugly bill was full of sin and evil. Let's just be extremely clear. But one thing that we know, regardless if you have health insurance or you're the family that I just talked to yesterday who is fighting for their child's life, who's in a 2nd stage clinical trial where that funding has been cut, all Americans know that we, bottom line, deserve to get care when we need it. And out of the Obama administration, some would say it was imperfect, the ACA or Obamacare. But what these Republicans are trying to do, and they're being quite successful, is rip every single gain, particularly the gains on access to care. So that's where the line drops for us right now as House Democrats. We're clear. I refuse to vote yes on what's called a continuing resolution that takes away health care from my mother, from my auntie, from my uncle, everyone in this country, because the Republicans refuse to meet us where, again, which is the floor. It's the floor, saying that folks, their rates should not rise. Because they refuse to do so, insurers around the country, as we speak, are drawing up letters, and you will be getting them in your mailboxes saying that their rates will increase. All we're saying is stop the increases, stop the gutting of Medicare, stop the gutting of Medicaid, and extend the opportunities for the American to have access to healthcare through what we've called Obamacare. It's that simple. There's so many other things that we are fighting in real time, but healthcare, don't take that away from the veterans of this country. Don't take that away from low-income folks who are fighting diabetes and cancer. Absolutely not.
As you heard her say a moment ago, she's only been in Congress for 9 months, and that is because the seat that she now holds was once held by Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee is now the mayor of Oakland. So clearly sisters are doing it in the city of Oakland. More of our conversation with Congresswoman Lateefah Simon when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Generous listening. Charitable listening. It's why everybody wants to talk to Tavis. The conversation continues when we come forward.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation, your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at kbla1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community focused. So just go to kbla1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994. Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
This is an ad by BetterHelp. We've all had that epic rideshare experience. Halfway through the trip, you know their heartbreak, their career path, and they know your aspirations to go find yourself in Portugal. It's human. We're all looking for connection, for someone to listen. But sometimes the people we spill our hearts to aren't exactly equipped to help us through it. With over a decade of data-backed experience from helping millions of people, BetterHelp matches you with a therapist based on your needs and goals. No asking for recommendations or endless scrolling through listings. Simply answer a few questions online and you'll be matched with a therapist, often in as little as 48 hours. Join over 5 million people worldwide who've trusted BetterHelp for their mental health and well-being. Get a therapist who gets you. Visit BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/ABC Radio.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in, but we're okay with that. You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
You are indeed with Oakland Congresswoman Lateefah Simon, who I'm honored to have back on this program, one of my favorite guests. I was just talking to her offline during that break, and I'm always fascinated and humbled, frankly, by the ways dots connect in my career. She was just telling me during the break that when I put Kamala Harris, who we'll talk about on the backside of this hour, with Ashley Etienne. When I put Kamala Harris on the national stage many years ago, the country had not heard of her. She was making her move here in California, but the nation hadn't heard of Kamala Harris. And I put her on one of those annual State of the Black Union symposia that you'll recall that I did every February. And Lateefah was just telling me that she was in her 20s at that time, just a young lady, but she was staffing Kamala Harris that day. I'm laughing now because she was staffing Kamala all those years ago. And now here she is, a member of Congress herself. The Lord can do mighty things, but it's just amazing. Again, every day something occurs to me. I learn something about the way in which dots connect to people who I've been either directly connected to or tangentially connected to over the course of my career. So it was a great day that day when had an all-star panel of younger voices that the country at that time had not heard of. And Kamala Harris was on that panel. And who knew that Lateefah Simon was backstage staffing her that day? And again, now she is in Congress. Speaking of being in Congress, you made a powerful point a moment ago. And there's no naivete, Congresswoman, in asking this question, but this has been reported time and time again. Everybody's talking about this, and you use the word the floor, and you're right. All the Democrats have asked for in this debate with Republicans, or this non-debate, as it were, is a floor. It's the floor. We're asking for the basics here. Why are Republicans so recalcitrant about a request that really is this essential, this basic, this floor level?
The question we're all asking ourselves every day, but many of us have gleaned into what the answer is, and from the perspective is, if you look at the budget, if you look at the big ugly bill in itself, it strips away resources from a social safety net to extend the Trump tax breaks for the largest corporations and folks who have the most assets in the country. That in no way is hyperbole. That is no way a political talking point. That's the truth of the legislation. So for us, the pushback is saying you will absolutely not continue a narrative and or policy that prioritizes folks who have everything and cuts food stamps, cuts Medicaid and Medicare, and opportunities for folks who are barely making it now to further the harm. This is about cruelty. And if you have been watching the Republican leadership in the last few days, you see that while folks are dying to survive in this country, they are making a mockery out of our lives. So healthcare, again, is a focal point. But I got to tell you, sir, from the day that Donald Trump was sworn in, the shutdown began, with tens of thousands of workers being fired in his first month, federal workers, with the dilapidation of the Department of Education, specifically the Civil Rights Division. That was a hard-won fight from the Civil Rights Movement, again, to establish that department and ensure collective responsibility and accountability for all the nation's children from K through 12. I mean, I can go on. The slashing of HIV resources and aid resources all over the world. Those resources, we believe, halted much of the migration. So they have literally shut down opportunity for millions and millions of folks since the day that man put his hand on the Bible, and they've continued it. What we're saying is absolutely not. Capitulation is not an option. It's not an option.
So nobody knows. You don't know. I don't know. None of us knows at this point how long this shutdown, this particular shutdown, is going to last. What I do know, and what you also know, obviously, is that the longer it lasts, the more you start to see the pain being felt by Donald Trump's supporters. And so, I'm not trying to be flippant about this. In some ways, it benefits Democrats for this thing to go a little bit longer so that Trump's people can start to feel the pain. And then Republicans, we've already seen them getting pushed back at these, town hall meetings that some of them don't even want to have because they know it's coming. But the longer this goes, the more they're going to feel the pain. I wonder what your thoughts are about how Republicans need to feel some of the pain that Democrats are crying about, complaining about legitimately, that's being inflicted upon their supporters, if that makes sense.
I love the question. One of the things I think it's important, I'm a progressive Democrat, but moreover, I am a mother. I'm a widow. I lost my husband to cancer 10 years ago. You can't fight cancer on a budget. We filed bankruptcy. We got support from community. I stood in Social Security lines to get a $600 death benefit. I am in no way excited about the suffering that is going to happen. And I know that's not what you're implying, but I want to say this, the suffering that will be witnessed, and we'll see it from West Virginia to Detroit to Louisiana to Oakland. One of the things that's important to know, and what Democrats are trying to do very differently than the Republicans, we're speaking for all the American people. I am fighting, and why I voted no on, again, this what we call continuing resolution, because I'm fighting for the mother who doesn't have quarters for laundry, the woman who is in West Virginia who powders down her milk to make it, puts water in her milk to make it last more of the month. Since Trump was sworn in, folks have been feeling this hurt. I talked earlier about children in cancer trials that have been defunded. Those children are white and their parents vote red, like they are black and their parents vote blue. We are all being hurt by this administration. The last thing I want to say on this, for those who are struggling or who are fearful and have anxiety about this shutdown, we and I'm wanting you to know that we see you and that we are with you. The shutdown is an attack on our dignity, on your dignity. But I believe, to your point, Mr. Smiley, that it will be short because the American people are rising up cross party, and they will not allow their health and their livelihoods to be used as bargaining chips. The Democrats are opening up our arms and saying, meet with us. Do you know that the Republican House did not show up to work on Monday or Tuesday? They just invited Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer to the bargaining table just days ago, the first time that Trump has seen them in the Oval Office. These are not folks who care about poor American people. So we're going to keep fighting, and we're hopefully going to have this behind us shortly. But you have a Democratic Party that is rising up each and every day more than ever. Listen, I came to speak loudly for those women and children and poor folks who deserve a better life. And that's what I'm here to do.
You said something a moment ago, and I've heard you reference this before, and I love let me just say at the outset, I love your transparency about this, because I believe that what comes from the heart reaches the heart. And every time I've heard you say it, it always hits me. So maybe there's some in this audience across the country listening right now who've heard this for the first time about your personal backstory. But it's not lost on me that the thing that most bankrupts Americans in this country are healthcare costs. So here are Democrats drawing the line about healthcare, as they should. But the thing, again, that bankrupts most of us in this country happens to be healthcare. Just say a bit more, if you will, about your own personal story since you went there.
My husband, like you, he was a Black journalist. His name was Kevin Weston, and I tell his story every single day. We got married, had our baby, and he was an incredible man. And in one day, our life changed. He got a terminal cancer diagnosis that literally at that moment changed everything forever. Our health insurance company, good people, but with a terminal diagnosis, there's only so much that you could do. He had just made 41 when he was diagnosed. And I got to tell you, I was not willing to just go home and let him die. We got into clinical trials. Those are not always free. We had to leave our children and travel all over the country for more therapies. He died. We were left with love, and that's about it. And, we filed bankruptcy because even with health insurance, I had about $1 million of healthcare bills. I had our little baby who was going into preschool, and my daughter, I was a teen mom prior to Kevin meeting me. She was going into college. We filed bankruptcy. And again, I had work. Can you imagine the folks in this country who are trying to fight chronic and acute diseases on a budget? They are about to see, because of the Republicans' ignorant understanding of how real people live, their premiums go up. We're going to try to stop that, full stop. And I want to thank folks for rallying around elected officials who are finally stepping up and saying, not on our watch. We're here to fight for you. I don't see another option.
Yep. I've got 5 minutes left. Thank you for, first of all, taking that question and being so open and about that. I've got 5 minutes left. I want to cover a couple more things with you. Let me pivot if I can right quick here to your work on ensuring enforcement of fair housing, anti-discrimination protections. Now, on this program in the last week or so, this audience knows, Congresswoman Simon, we had those 2 whistleblowers who were just fired by the HUD department. Their story. We all know their story. One Black, one white. So this is everybody. It's a human thing, not a Black thing or a white thing, but a right and a wrong thing. And they came out courageously, took the risk to become whistleblowers to tell us what is happening inside the HUD department when it comes to a complete abandonment of enforcing these fair housing protections. I've made the point before, I make it once again. This is tragic for a lot of reasons, not the least of which is there's a Black man running the HUD department right now.
That's right.
And on his watch, you see Black people and others being put upon when it comes to these fair housing laws that are on the books longstanding, not being enforced. You've been engaged in that issue. Tell me more.
The Trump administration, Trump himself, has decided to create an administration led by incompetence, white, Black, and the other. I've introduced legislation, with the honorable and venerable Congressman Al Green to strengthen fair housing protections in this moment. Listen, everyone under the Trump administration, they have sold their heart and their morality to go by what I believe are the racist and misogynistic pushes by the Trump administration. We want to work with HUD and we want to work with local partners to enforce these anti-discrimination laws. Here's the reality. HUD is there to ensure that folks in this country have housing. And, anti-discrimination policies were erected because folks in our communities have faced discrimination based on race, based on gender, based on age, based on disability. All we are saying is stop this madness. And you had people internally who decided to pull the card. And what we want to do is join federal workers in saying we need an accountable government. But the Trump administration and his lackeys, they continue to dismiss and fire folks who are raising the red flags in agencies that literally their sole responsibility is to care for Americans who need a hand up. It's ridiculous. But again, we are here to legislate, we are here to fight, and we are here to represent the folks in this country who deserve a chance. And, in our district in Oakland, I'm pushing for federal resources to support tenants' rights, protect homeowners from foreclosure, and, to stand up to these beasts who've decided to, I believe, forego their oaths. So we're just starting. That while they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, don't think we're not fighting. 10 toes down.
I've got 2 minutes left. Let me bring this conversation full circle. We started this conversation talking about the fact that the polling data, only day 2, suggests at the moment that most Americans blame Republicans and Donald Trump for this shutdown, not Democrats. That's a good thing, number one. Number two, to my mind, this is a rare moment of complete unity by all Democrats against Donald Trump. That unity is a good thing. So let's assume that however long this shutdown lasts, the Democrats end up winning. They force the president and Republicans' hand. They make a move on health care. Democrats come out of this smelling like a rose. How do Democrats then build on that victory between now and the midterms?
I believe that Democrats, from your water boards up to the House of Congress, I'm talking about your school boards, your board of supervisors, we need to fight fire with fire using dignity. Again, our relationship to organizing and forceful nonviolent tactics, our strategies, our tactics, our mission and vision should be to ensure that the American people have what they need to survive and thrive. And it sounds cheeky, but it is, again, rested in our Constitution. This country was built off the backs of folks who have worked with their full bodies, their full spirits. We're not asking for a lot. We're fighting for the floor. And that is basic human dignity. From Hakeem Jeffries on down to the freshmen like myself in Congress, I am encouraged that this fight is going to give us, the people will give us more of the wings and the push to fight like our lives depend on it, because they do. What's happening now, this evil cannot stand.
She is an unapologetically proud progressive, and one of the many reasons I have such high regard for Lateefah Simon. We are blessed to have her as one of the 62 African Americans now in the Congressional Black Caucus, representing the city of Oakland, just 9 months in. But I look forward to a long and impactful career of her service in the United States Congress. Congresswoman, good to have you on. All the best to you. Thank you for your time.
Can't wait to talk to you again, sir. Bye-bye.
Look forward to it. So we start this program today with not one, but 2 Black women who have formerly staffed Kamala Harris. That's Lateefah Simon, now a member of Congress. When we come forward, a conversation with Ashley Etienne, who hadn't just worked for Kamala Harris, but for Barack Obama, for Nancy Pelosi, and Joe Biden. She's a major force in D.C. We'll talk to her when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Why does Tavis say when we come forward? Because he's not going back. And you don't have to go back either. Forward ever. Backward never. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The government shutdown is raising border security concerns. Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar says agents will keep working but won't get paid.
Homeland, along with the military and other folks, are essential employees, so they will continue working.
The Border Patrol Union slammed lawmakers, warning the agency will lose critical funding for gear and infrastructure. New Orleans officials say crime is down, pushing back on Governor Jeff Landry's call for 1,000 National Guard troops. City leaders say they weren't notified and warned the move could disrupt trust and community policing efforts. The proposed deployment would focus on outreach and infrastructure, not direct crime response. And a 10-foot statue honoring music icon Tina Turner now stands in her hometown of Brownsville, Tennessee. The tribute celebrates her legacy as a Grammy-winning legend and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Celebrating 100 years, Mount St. Mary's University LA is dedicated to moving your life and career forward. Earn your undergraduate or graduate degree and become unstoppable. Find out how at msmu.edu.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Dodgers made quick work of the Cincinnati Reds. They eliminated the Reds from the National League playoffs with an 8-4 win Wednesday night at Dodger Stadium. Mookie Betts was 4 for 5 at the plate with 3 doubles and 3 RBIs. The Dodgers move on to the divisional round against Philadelphia. Game 1 is Saturday in Philly. The Rams are back in action tonight against San Francisco at SoFi. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua leads the NFL with 42 catches and 503 receiving yards. After week 4 of the NFL season, one of the 5 African-American head coaches in the NFL is still looking for his first win. Aaron Glenn, in his first season with the New York Jets, is 0-4. The Jets' next game is at home Sunday, October 5th against Dallas. Pittsburgh's Mike Tomlin and Tampa Bay's Todd Bowles are 3-1. Atlanta's Raheem Morris is 2-2. D'Amico Ryan in Houston is 1-3. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
BET and PBS, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, and NPR, the cover of Jet and the cover of Time. Number 1 on the New York Times bestsellers list, 20 honorary doctorate degrees, a dozen NAACP Image Awards, a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award. From talk shows to talk radio, nobody's ever done it better. This is Tavis Smiley. This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Paid for by government.com. Did you know the United States Mint has issued a new Morgan silver dollar coin in proof condition for the first time? Not only that, they are also minted in 99.9% pure silver for the first time ever in history. Coin experts are calling this an amazing opportunity for anyone that knows the enduring popularity of Morgans. But you must hurry. Only 400,000 of these legal tender silver dollars were issued. These first ever Morgan silver dollars are brand new with stunning mirror-like finish, minted by the iconic San Francisco Mint. Call now and you're guaranteed a new first ever 99.9% pure silver proof Morgan dollar. To learn more, call 1-800-973-9717. If you order now, you will receive a free coin collector bonus pack, a $25 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-973-9717 now to secure your new Morgan silver dollars before they are gone. That's 1-800-973-9717.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside. out. I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code COOL to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code COOL for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Trying to rain on the thunder. Tell the storm I'm new. I'm a wild, come a march on the regular. Painted white flags blue.
I can't play too much of this because I can't afford the royalties. I can't afford the penalties or the royalties that come along with playing Beyonce for too long. But why not play a little bit, since that was Kamala's walk-on song during the campaign. As I said a moment ago, I didn't realize this. We're starting the show today with two guests who have formerly staffed Kamala Harris. We started with Congresswoman Lateefah Simon. Thank her for that first half hour. And now, one of my favorite guests, I always love talking to Ashley Etienne. She has worked with Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. Ashley, good to have you back. How are you today?
I'm well. Thank you for having me, Tavis. And, I always love to talk to you, too.
Oh, it's good to hear your voice. I hear that smile. I hear that smile already on the radio. It's a beautiful thing. So I said at the top of the hour today that this is actually my first conversation about the fallout from this 107 Days Kamala Harris book with a Kamala Harris insider. So I don't need to color this any more than that for you. I wanted to have you on, again, to get your take on this issue. I've said before, and every day the fallout gets worse and worse from my perspective. I cannot imagine how anybody advising her, anybody around her, would have suggested to her that this was the proper frame to write, in which to write this book. But that's just me. I could be wrong. How have you been, as a former Kamala Harris staffer, how have you been processing the way this thing has rolled out, or not, as it were?
Well, there's a lot that I love and admire about the vice president. And I think, I've read the book, and I think regrettably much of that was not included in the book. I agree with you. I would have advised her differently, and I would have advised her to write a book that actually cements her legacy. Mm-hmm. There's always been sort of her Achilles heel has always been that people haven't gotten enough of Kamala Harris. They don't know enough about her, what she's done, what she's achieved. And, and I always tell people she's bad. She's been every glass ceiling she's ever had in her career. She got more Democratic votes than any other Democrat in American politics. There's a lot to be proud about. She was central to all of these big pieces of legislation, from infrastructure to gun reform to voting rights and reproductive rights. She has an incredible story to tell. And so my advice to her would have been to tell that actual story, because people won't tell it for you. She regularly quotes her mother saying, don't let people tell you who you are, you tell them who you are. And I think she should have spent the 300 pages of her book actually doing that.
How did this go off the rails so badly and so quickly? There was all this hype about the book, and people were ready for it, and it just jumped the rails. Why? You're an expert in these in these areas of brand and marketing and messaging.
Yeah,
how did it jump the rails so badly?
Honestly, I think it's just bad timing.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're in a stage and a place, not just as a nation, as a Black community, but particularly Black women, because I think we feel most dejected by what happened in November. Mm-hmm. And I think what we need right now is some leadership that could give us clarity of purpose, that can inspire us to keep moving forward, that can remind us that we got the blood of Harriet Tubman running through our bodies, that anything is possible that we put our minds to. So for me, I think the book was the wrong message at the wrong time. I think people are seeking out and want something different from our leaders. Again, we're at a place where we're feeling like there's a dearth of real leadership, especially unapologetically Black leadership right now. And I just think that it was the wrong message, wrong theme at the wrong time.
And I don't mean to suggest, let me be clear about this. I don't mean to suggest this book is not selling at all. There's some numbers that suggest.
Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some numbers.
And listen, I encourage people to buy it.
Yeah, sure.
You should buy it. I'm a student of the game. So for me, it's like, I'm taking notes from everybody, right? I'm watching everybody move. So there's a lot to be learned from the book.
Yeah.
I just think here's the thing, Tavis, the way I sort of saw it was, it was a lot about her experiences, what she had to go through. But I felt like the part that was missing that would probably resonate most in this moment was the "And Still I Rise" part.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so much of the book felt familiar to me, but the part that was missing that I think is a resource for the next generation and even women like me that are trying to be as bad as she is and break glass ceilings. The thing that we need the most is the "And Still I Rise" part of the story. How I overcame it, how you can overcome it, and how we're going to overcome, this mess that we're in with Donald Trump.
I think you're right about that. I'd only add the following. Bill Clinton famously said many years ago, Bill Clinton was right about this, that every election is about the future, never about the past, number one. And a memoir from Kamala right about now and should have been in that frame. How do you see the future? Yeah. It ought to be future facing, forward facing. And she spent, I think, too much time in the book looking back, not looking forward. I digress on that. So you and I are simpatico in that regard. So let me just ask you this though, because you said something a moment ago that jumped out at me. I'm still wrestling with it. Her quoting her mother all the time about telling your own story because can't nobody tell it the way you tell it. That's my paraphrase of that. But you take my point. So since she did not do that in this particular book, what does this book as written tell us about Kamala Harris? What's it say to us? And I'm asking a broad question to give you all the canvas you need to paint because I got my own answer to this, but that ain't the point. What
do you want to go first?
No, I'll let you go. First. What does, since she didn't tell us that story you think she should have told us, what does the story that she did tell us about who Kamala Harris is?
Listen,
are you with me on this?
I'm with you on it.
Okay.
And I think this really punctuates my point. I don't have a top takeaway about who Kamala Harris is based on the book. I mean, it was not revealing in a lot of ways that it could have been. I think the theme wasn't a bad one. Like the construction wasn't a bad one, but you just needed to pull back 3 or 4 more layers. And I think the effect though is my most concern. I love her to death, but as a strategist, I think my top takeaway is that she played herself small. I mean, she's had an incredible career. She's an incredible force. And to really sort of have, something that's going to be on the shelves for, from now until eternity, that doesn't really capture that, I think is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I back to my earlier point.
What did you take away? I mean,
yeah, I think you want my honest answer. You want my honest answer?
Yeah.
Not as if you want me to lie to you. No, of course you want my honest answer.
I don't think you're going to give me anything other than
I think you're right. I think
she got a reputation.
One I'm trying to uphold every day, which ain't always easy.
Right.
But I think I agree with you. She did play herself small, but I think there's a level of let me put it this way. I had a wise person tell me many, many years ago, and I wrote a chapter about this in one of my books, actually. And I titled the chapter, "Don't Major in the Minors." I think she spent too much time majoring in the minors.
Yeah.
And so it comes across as vindictive. It comes across as score settling. It comes across as, a game of gotcha. Because she majored in the minors. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. No, and I think I said almost the same point differently. I think you sort of played to some degree played herself small. But I do think that there are parts of the book that don't fit with that characterization.
I agree.
I encourage people to read it. But I do think that she owes us another book.
Yeah.
I think for herself, for my daughter, for the next generation of women that are going to be in these, find themselves as the only one at the table, that are going to need to figure out how to, rise above it and still I rise despite the environment. Because you're not going to, you can't control for all of that, right? I mean, we're not going to eradicate racism. It's just a containment strategy. So anyway, so how does one overcome? And so I think that's the book she owes us. And I can't wait to read that one.
Yes. When we come forward to Ashley's point, I love how she's pointing me in the right direction. I want to go there anyway. When we come forward, I want to ask her, whether or not, and about it very quickly here, just to be fair to Kamala Harris, there are signs that this book may be the best-selling memoir of the year. Let me just be transparent about that. She's selling books now. It may end up being the best-selling memoir of the year. We shall see. So I'm mad at Kamala. She's getting paid. She's earning her money. But inside of political circles, that's what Ashley and I are talking about. Inside political circles, the damage has been done, which leads me to ask this question of Ashley Etienne when we come forward. Whether or not this book suggests to me, back to our question, what does it say about Kamala Harris? Does this book say that her political career is over, that she has no interest in running again, or that if she does decide to run again, that she ain't gonna win? Given the way this book has been received, that's the question. Is her political career over? Has she declared by writing this book that I don't want to be in politics anymore? We'll go there. And then I want to ask you, of course, you don't get somebody who's a strategist of her stature on the program on a day like today, day 2, in fact, of the government shutdown, and not get her a read on how Democrats are handling this moment, having worked for Barack Obama, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Kamala Harris. We'll put all that to Ashley when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Come on!
Hello, KBLA delegation. Tavis Smiley here. On Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech becomes the epicenter of ideas that matter. The Left Coast Forum is bringing together voices that challenge, inspire, and illuminate, with keynote presentations from people like noted economist Richard Wolff, the man who breaks down capitalism in ways that make sense to working folk like you and me, and Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless, for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Forum. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there.
We ask seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up.
Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number and put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Ashley Etienne, political advisor, premier strategist for Nancy Pelosi, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. We've been talking, in case you just tuned in, about 107 Days, the book by Kamala Harris, which is on track to become the best-selling memoir of the year. But what does it mean with regard to her political life? So it's clear to me, obviously, Ashley, that she will continue her public life. But what about her political life?
No, I think that's such a good question. I mean, you know, one read of it is that that this is sort of the end of the road. But, you know, again, that's hard to predict. I never predict when anyone's done. I've been surprised by a lot of my former bosses that won't walk away. So,
Yeah.
But if I had to be honest with you, it looks to me like her political career is over, but her public life is not over. And there's a lot to, there's a lot she can do as a public noted figure. 73 million people voted for her. That's a lot of power. And to your point, she's going to be a best-selling author. Even more power. So I'm just curious to see what she's going to do with it. Like, what's the next iteration of Kamala Harris?
Yeah. Has the damage that she's done to herself inside of Democratic circles, and before you even say it, I know what you're about to say. Democratic circles is such an amorphous term. It's a huge term. I get that. But inside of Democratic circles, has she done any irreparable damage to herself with this book?
I think there are a lot of disappointed people inside and outside of the party. I think there are more that than will be honest about it and say it publicly, obviously. I think, what saddened me was sort of how people were positioned in the book who really soldiered and gave everything they had to see her win. From the staff to former cabinet secretaries to governors, to even Joe Biden. Again, I've said this when I worked for her. I never heard them tell us no, that there was no limitations on what she could do. I told her quite often in the team, like, you got to know what you want. And he's not going to tell you no. You're the first woman, the first Black woman. You come with 92% of the party support from Black women behind you. That's a lot of power. And he understands that. And, and so I think there are a lot of people who are perplexed by the strategy, who don't see sort of, I was just meeting with a former Obama White House colleague who was just saying the same thing. They just don't see sort of to what end write this book, what end, right? What value is this adding in this moment when you've got such a big platform, you've got so much promise behind you, like why write this book? So I think there are a lot of people who are perplexed by it. But here's the other, I think, encouraging thing. And when we think about what the rest of her career could look like, I think the whole Democratic Party's structure right now is burning down right before our own eyes. So, who knows what the party's going to look like three years from now, right? And so maybe, bygones will be bygones because most of these people will be gone, right? And so, anything's possible.
Yeah. But I think there's a point for all of us, if we're fortunate. If we are fortunate, there's a moment that all of us have to just settle into our iconic status, if I can put it that way. You make a choice. I'm just going to settle into my iconic status and ride it, and do whatever good work and witness I can with whatever years the good Lord will give me. But I digress on that. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Ashley Etienne, I do want to close our conversation by asking her about the Democrats. At the moment, it seems that Democrats are on the good foot. As I said at the top of the program, the polling data early, only 2 days in, suggests that most Americans are blaming Republicans and Donald Trump for this shutdown, not the Democrats. How about that? A good sign, a victory, at least early on for Democrats. We'll ask Ashley how they're managing this moment, and more to the point, if they pull this off and win with any kind of victory, how they build on that again between now and the midterms. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. LA County's new Justice Care and Opportunities Department, or JCOD, is here to support justice-involved individuals and their families. The JCOD Support Center is now taking calls at 1-833-LACJCOD. That's 1-833-522-5263. Available 7 days a week from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., the Support Center is your one-stop shop for re-entry issues and court support. They offer court reminders, connections to local services, transportation assistance for housing, court appearances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Is your loved one at the hospital or in a nursing home? Have they developed bed sores, fallen, or worse? These are things your family members should be protected from. Bed sores, falls, and dehydration are almost always the result of negligent care. If this has happened to your loved one, call Zoran at Basic Law Group at 800-215-1234 or visit basiclawgroup.com. The consultation is free, and if they don't win, you don't pay. That's 800-215-1234.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
It does indeed. I got 2 minutes left here with Ashley Etienne, so I yield it all to her. So Democrats at the moment seem to be handling this the right way. We talked earlier, Ashley, about it. What advice you would have given to Kamala Harris if she'd asked about writing that book. What advice do you give to Democrats in this moment?
Yeah, I mean, the concern is that the polls that you referred to earlier are just a snapshot in time. I've been in two shutdowns, in the war room of 2 shutdowns. And at the end of the day, no matter how long they go on, it becomes pox on both houses. Here's the outlier. It's Donald Trump. He has now, you go to the White House website, go to any federal agency website, and on the website, the opening page, they're blaming Democrats for the shutdown.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump has not activated his huge, incredible apparatus all around the country. I mean, outside of Washington, D.C., the media skews to the right. It's not to Democrats' advantage. So I think the president is going to do what he does best. He's going to start blaming Democrats for the whole state of the economy, for everything underneath the sun. I mean, he's great at these things. He loves a gutter. I mean, he loves a gutter fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so, so that's really my main concern is how do you sort of reverse that and put the onus of this back on Republicans. And so what does a win actually look like for Democrats? To some degree, Schumer had to do it because he needed to appease the base, appease his left. Sometimes we had to do that in 2013. Republicans shut it down just to shut up the Tea Party, just to let them exercise themselves. You know what I mean? So they can realize that there really is no win in a shutdown. And so I think that could be part of the strategy. I think at the end of the day, what's going to happen is they're going to take J.D. Vance up on his offer to negotiate on ACA premiums. Schumer is going to come out and say we've got an agreement from the White House and Republicans to negotiate on this issue. We'll give them the votes to open up the House. So then everybody's sort of satisfied because there is no other exit out of this thing.
Yep.
You're going to have to vote for something. Democrats going to have to vote for something.
And that's why you talk to Ashley Etienne in moments like these. She can give you the insight of how this is going to go down before it goes down. Ashley, good to have you on as always. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks
for your time.
All right.
Good to have you on. More of Tavis Simon will come forward. We are at the outset of hour 2, which means it's Thursday. So Cornell West is standing by. You're listening to Tavis Simon.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The government shutdown is raising border security concerns. Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar says agents will keep working but won't get paid.
Homeland, along with the military and other folks, are essential employees, so they will continue working.
The Border Patrol Union slammed lawmakers, warning the agency will lose critical funding for gear and infrastructure. New Orleans officials say crime is down, pushing back on Governor Jeff Landry's call for 1,000 National Guard troops. City leaders say they weren't notified and warned the move could disrupt trust and community policing efforts. The proposed deployment would focus on outreach and infrastructure, not direct crime response. And a 10-foot statue honoring music icon Tina Turner now stands in her hometown of Brownsville, Tennessee. The tribute celebrates her legacy as a Grammy-winning legend and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Celebrating 100 years, Mount St. Mary's University LA is dedicated to moving your life and career forward. Earn your undergraduate or graduate degree and become unstoppable. Find out how at msmu.edu.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.